Immigration.
Right.
You have people in the GOP worried that you're going to alienate, excuse the pun, the Hispanic population. You may have 28 million.
Chris, I have to do the right thing.
28 million voters.
You're right.
Pulling the birthright exception.
You're right.
That may be constitutionally dubious. You shouldn't be taking such an extreme position. What do you say?
I have to do the right thing. It's a time, this country is so politically correct. Nobody wants to take a stance on anything. I was the one that brought up, and I took a lot of heat. You gave it to me, too. I mean, you were one of the leaders that first week and week and a half after I made the announcements. And a lot of people, including yourselves, they were not reading it the way I said it. And that is now fact. And I've been actually complimented by some of the people because I brought up the whole thing of illegal immigration. I'll bet you wouldn't even be asking this question right now had I not put that in my opening statement as a very important.
You definitely changed the nature of the dialogue. I'll give you that. And I certainly never would try to take you out of context. I try to take you at your word and put it in context.
But I'm saying many people did.
But you said, would you then go?
At some point, though, we have to look. At some point, we have to be honest with ourselves. It's called, they like to use the word undocumented because it's more political. I don't use that word. They're illegal immigrants. They came over illegally. Some are wonderful people, and they've been here for a while. They got to go out.
But how do you do it in a practical way? You really think you can round up 11 million people?
And you know what? At some point, we're going to try getting them back, the good ones. You have a lot of good ones. Same time,
send a mixed message, though, Mr. Trump, because you say you're going to get rid of whole families, but then you say you want them back.
You got to go. They're illegal. We have a country. We have to have a border. We have to have a wall. Mexico will pay for the wall. I get a kick out of these guys that never negotiated. They can't negotiate for their own house.
They're going to pay for a $4 billion wall when you give them like $280 million a year. Why would they say yes?
Because they make a fortune with us. Our companies are moving into Mexico more than almost any other place right now. We're losing our industry. We're losing our business to Mexico. Their leaders are smart as hell. I mean, 300,000, I looked on your show, 300,000 births this year, illegals in our country. That means we picked up 300,000 people that are going to get Social Security. You have people on the border, and in one day they walk over, have a baby, and now all of a sudden we're supposed to pay the baby.
So the citizenship for those babies, you would revoke it now and retroactively?
Number one, the 14th Amendment is very questionable as to whether or not somebody can come over, have a baby, and immediately that baby is a citizen.
Okay? The court has pretty much said that it reads in immigrants there. This is a minority legal opinion you're talking about.
There are many people that totally feel that
they may want it that way.
Amending is too big a deal. It'll be 2 terms. I'd be in my 2nd term or my 8th year by the time, assuming everything went smoothly, because to amend the Constitution
takes a long time.
I believe,
especially on a very divisive issue.
I believe you can win it legally. Okay, I believe you can win it legally, and in any event, the parents have to leave. If the parents leave, unless they're very bad people, they're going to take their baby.
75% of the country feels that you should be trying to find a way to let people stay with conditions as opposed to kicking everybody out.
These people, the really good ones, and we have some great ones, we're going to try and expedite so they can come back, but they're going to come back legally. Let me tell you, when you look at Baltimore, when you look at Chicago, when you look at the crime that's going on, you have some of these people are illegal immigrants. I mean, they're illegal. They've come into the country. They're gang members. They're the toughest of the group. They're tough.
Some are bad, but most of them are coming in here to fight for the dream.
I'd get them out before I start building the wall, and I will start building that wall soon. I will get them out. The first thing I'm doing is getting the bad ones out, and they're gone, and they're not coming back either. I'm going to increase the hell out of the border in terms of the guards and Border Patrol, who I've gotten to know a lot of them when I went to the border recently, and they're fantastic. They want to be able to do their job. They're stopped from doing their job. Before I even start the wall, and I will start the wall very quickly, you know one of the things that's holding up the wall? Environmental impact statements. Can you believe this? Environmental impact statements.
I think it's got to be low on the list.
But that's one of the things. They can't get environmental permits. Can you believe this? Okay? Believe me, that's all I do is get permits.
What about going after the employers? And this isn't a cheap thing to come at you and say you're one of them.
That's true.
But you have these employers.
Well, you know what? They've checked all of my buildings, and so far, with all of the jobs I have, Washington, everyone, nobody's found one.
Well, good for you.
Are you impressed?
Good for you. I was impressed the moment you sat down. What I'm saying is you have these employers, the agro companies, the other big manufacturers, they take them in because it's cheap labor. And they get away with it all the time. You never hear about a big case of them getting busted unless something happens and it goes away. Why doesn't anybody mention them as part of the solution?
First of all, we do have people that could do those jobs, and they're unemployed now in this country. Second of all, those good people that have been working with these, I want them to come back in. I want them to go out, but I want them to come back in legally so they can come back and they can work for those companies. I do want them to come back in.
But do you go after the employers who are doing it the wrong way?
The one way you find out who they are is through the employers. Absolutely.
All right, so let me ask you about the Pope. The Pope's coming. Do you want to meet him?
Well, I'm Protestant, but I have great respect for the Pope. I like the Pope. I actually like him. He's becoming very political. There's no question about it. But I like him. He seems like a pretty good guy.
So here's the moment. You meet the Pope. Pope Francis comes.
Right.
There's a translator there.
Right.
And he says, oh, Mr. Trump, this is very nice. And then he says, I want to tell him something. The translator says to you, the Pope believes that capitalism can be a real avenue to greed. It can be really toxic and corrupt. And he's shaking his finger at you when he says it. What do you say in response to the Pope?
I'd say ISIS wants to get you. You know that ISIS wants to go in and take over the Vatican. You have heard that. You know that's a dream of theirs to go into Italy.
He talks to you about capitalism? You scare the Pope?
No, I'm going to have to scare the Pope because it's thing. There's only one. Look, the Pope, I hope, can only be scared by God.
Is the ceiling open over here right now?
The Pope, I hope, can only be scared by God. But the truth is, if you look at what's going on, they better hope that capitalism works because it's the only thing we have right now. And it's a great thing when it works properly. In our country, Chris, it has not been working properly.
That capitalism has.
It has not been working properly.
Do you take him seriously what he says?
Excuse me. Between regulation, between all of the Dodd-Frank, between all of the different things that have been imposed, we aren't competitive like we used to be. We have to open up our country to great capitalism. And I don't think the Pope is opposed to capitalism, by the way. I've seen a lot of what he's opposed to, and I don't think the Pope is opposed to capitalism.